Artificial intelligence is growing at a rapid pace and can target our most vulnerable people. In our series this week, Click Smart Summer, we're showing you how you can keep your family safe online. From scams to deep fake images that include child sex abuse material, AI-generated material is really a growing threat. Back in 2023, tech companies reported nearly 5,000 cyber tips of that kind of AI-generated material. And last year, that number exploded to 1.5 million. So to talk more about this growing trend, once again today, we are joined by Jason Conboy, who is a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations. And thank you again for being here this morning. We've talked about some sort of tough topics this week, but today we're focusing on AI. Why is this such a danger online?
It's probably one of the most emerging threats that we have. You know, child exploitation offenders and online predators, they're always going to use and abuse emerging technologies to their advantage to victimize, our children online. So not only are they hiding from us as law enforcement, they're hiding from their friends and families and coworkers to, shield the heinous crimes they're doing. So they'll always take things like, say, the dark net or the use of cryptocurrency, or now it's a use of generative artificial intelligence or AI to produce CSAM, to maybe use it and aid them in finding victims, whereas that was a lot more challenging before.
And just so people who aren't familiar with CSAM, that's child sex abuse material.
Correct.
And that's what they're using to produce it.
Correct. They're using it to produce it. It is actually legal per federal law, so that a lot of people don't know that as well. And these offenders will use that to even have, so if they can't obtain content from a victim, they can just use a victim's, what we would call like a sanitized, non-CSAM image, and they can create that into a CSAM image and maybe use it to use a sextortion scheme or to spread it around social media, and that's really the threat now, is they can just create their own images and videos.
And so to really just put this into layman's terms here, basically they could take an image that's innocent online, just an image of a child out at a playground, and then change that image to be something much worse, and then use that to sort of victimize people.
The frightening answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
And what is your advice to parents who maybe want to protect themselves from this happening? I mean, I think the question is, how do we prevent this? The internet is just so explosive. How do we protect ourselves from every threat out there?
Yeah, it goes back to what we've been talking about all week. If you have to have those public social media profiles private. We have to protect, we harden our homes and our schools with Ring cameras and school resource officers. We have to really harden our digital identities and our social media accounts. And it starts with making those public profiles private, making sure we lock that down into the people that we know and that we trust, and we want to prevent any online offenders from grabbing those images and to begin that type of exploitation of our children.
Well, let's talk about the investigative side of this. We were talking at the top of the segment about just the numbers have exploded. Do you have enough people to sort of track down all of the crimes that are now happening? I mean, this seems like an intensive effort to try to tackle this.
Absolutely. I mean, we are hardworking, between the federal government, our state, local partners. But it's completely understaffed. We cannot arrest ourselves out of this problem. And then when you throw in AI in the mix, and we're spending days, weeks, months trying to identify who we think is an actual child victim, just to find out that it's an AI-generated victim, which that's not a real victim. So how much time are we losing in actually trying to track down and identify the real victims that are out there of CSAM?
If people want to find out more about this, because I think a lot of us are still learning about AI in general and how it works, are there some online resources for parents?
Absolutely. I think a theme from this week, too, is as trusted adults, we can't put our head in the sand like ostriches. We can go to knowtoprotect.gov. You can go to the National Center for Missing Exploited Children or missingkids.org and just educate yourself. You don't have to be a subject matter expert in any of these fields, but to know a little bit of knowledge is going to go a long way to help protect our kids online.
Well, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate your time all this week. We'll be, of course, talking about this again tomorrow. But thank you so much for being here this morning, Jason. We appreciate it. Well, to report an incident, you can call the Know to Protect tip line at the number there on your screen. That is 833-591-5669. You can also visit the cyber tip line at report.cybertip.org. All the information received on that tip line does get reviewed and then referred to the appropriate government agency or local law enforcement for investigation.